Hello everybody and welcome in. In our previous video, we learned how to do tarot in under 30 minutes. This was a very fast express course and we couldn't get all the cards in. We can only do the upright version. So in tarot, there are different meanings to each card and they have the upright version, which would look like this, which is when you pull the card up and it looks like this. You can read the name, the Fool, things like that. And then there are other meanings, which is called the inverted meaning. This is where the card comes to you and it is upside down. While shuffling, cards will move around and they each have different meanings. So like if we looked at the Fool when it's regular, it would be a sign of a good friend and taking a leap forward, things like that. But if we flip it on its head, it means something completely different. So what we're going to do today is go through each card individually and discuss what the inverted meaning is. A lot of people get very nervous about inverted cards because they feel like it could have a deeper, scarier, darker meaning, which is not true at all. It's just a different side of the same card. So what we're going to do today is go through and just really start unpacking what each card means, especially when it's on the inverted side of the reading. Another term for an inverted card would also be in reverse. So a lot of times when you get a reading, somebody will say, oh, you got this card in reverse. What they mean is that it's upside down. So if you are just starting to read, so that you can just decide what terminology you want to say. I say inverted, other people say reverse. It really just depends on how you look at it and what you want to call it. So our first card we're going to be discussing today in reverse is the Fool. So when you have it upright, the card means there's a lot of potential, new beginnings, freedoms, a lot of innocence, a blank slate, a lot of optimism. But when you look at it on the reverse side or the inverted side, there's somewhat unprepared. They're careless, they're immature, they're reckless. They are kind of just like new at things and they're very much not prepared for what's going on. So again, it's very much the same type of belief or mindset, but in different outlooks essentially. The reverse can also be very much a sign of somebody is too naive, where they have too much enthusiasm. Their enthusiasm is going to get in the way of things. It's not a good thing. They're too eager to move forward. They're not making plans. They're acting foolish. The Fool, when it's regularly, when we look at it normally, is very much a sign that there's fun out there and you're willing to put yourself out there in new ways, versus the Fool inverted is kind of a sign of foolishness. It's one of those things where you're not necessarily seeing things for what they are. You're just putting yourself out there and running for things without planning for it. The next card we're looking at today is the Magician. The Magician card, when it's in an upright position, is a sign of skill, power, and manifestation. This is a sign of blessings. But when it's reverse, it is a sign of being a little bit scattered, a little bit directionless. This is a sign of being distracted, tricksters, illusions, lies, and things like that. This is very much the opposite side of magic. This is kind of the things where you're trying to trick somebody into something. This kind of gives you, when you think of like going to see a magician show, it's one of those things where it's more of a trickster. It's not necessarily magic as much as it could be a trick. This is also a sign of having unscrupulous power, where you aren't really sure what you're capable of and you kind of go above and beyond and kind of are a little bit out there. The next card we have is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is one of the most powerful cards in the tarot deck, so it is really good to know what she is and what she represents. So when she's in reverse, this is a sign of being repressed. This is a sign of very superficial things, being somewhat ignorant, being repressed, disconnected. Versus when we see it upright, which is very much a powerful concept where you can be a force for good, this is a sign of being held back. The High Priestess inverted is very much a sign of not getting what you need out of life and having a lot of people holding you back and blocking you from your blessings and kind of holding you back from things that could serve you in the long term. Versus the other, when she's upright, we see her as a lot more of a powerhouse type thing. Our next card we have inverted is the Empress. The Empress is a sign of stagnation. This card is one of those things where you're being blocked. Your creativity is being held back. Things are not working in your favor. There's a neglect here. There's smothering. The Empress, a lot of times when you see her upright, she is very much kind of like a mothering nature. This is like a smothering nature. This is one of those things where it's too much, where we're being held back by certain things and being very much oppressed by them. Our next card we're going to be looking at in the invert is the Emperor. The Emperor is a bit of, when you see him upright, it's a sign of authority and structure and power, like stability, things like that. Versus when you see the Emperor inverted, this is a sign of tyranny, avoiding issues, being unaffected by things. It's one of those things where you want power, but you don't care who you're having power over. You don't care about the people that's in your kingdom. You care about having the kingdom as your own. This is very much a sign of somebody who would want to own something, but not necessarily love it. The next card we have inverted is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is, normally when it's upright, it's very much a sign of tradition, God, source, universe, things like that. This is very much a sign of a higher social structure. This is a sign of like going to church, things like that, going to government, bigger powers that are above you that are looking out for you. Versus when it's reverse, this is a sign of dogma almost. This is a sign of doing things because you're told to do them, not because you want to. This is a sign of restriction. This is a sign of falling into the conventional. The Hierophant inverted is very much a sign of do it because I said so. The next card is the Lover. So when we have the Lover when we have it upright, first and foremost, it's love, relationships, union, things like that. But when we see the card in reverse like this, we are seeing an imbalance in love. We are seeing incompatible. There's disharmony here. There's conflict here. Selfish love. This is the love that you want for yourself, but you don't care about the other person. You want to get what you can get for them and leave them. So this can be a sign of it's not a positive love. It's more of a love that you're demanding of. So the next card we have is the Chariot. When we have the Chariot in the upright, this is very much kind of being determined and focused, finding what you want. You're on the journey. It's like a chariot going somewhere. They're on the right track to what they want, and they're heading in that direction very fast. But when we're getting the in reverse version is a slowing down of a chariot. This is a slow chariot. Things are going very, not fast at all. They're slowing down. They are very much being distracted, unmotivated, narrow-mindedness, lack of control, fixated on something. This is a sign of you want to go somewhere, but you're fixated on where you are, not where you're headed. You're very much stuck in the mud, not moving forward. That's kind of what this is a very big representation of. Our next card is Strength. Strength, when it's upright, is a sign of confidence. This is patience. This is resilience. This is inner strength. This is compassion and diplomacy. When we see it in reverse, though, it's the other side of that. You are not strong enough to do this. You are insecure. Inadequacies, vulnerability, weaknesses, things that don't actually serve you. It's very much the opposite of this. You are very much afraid of the lion versus when it's upright, is someone who is comforting the lion and being part of it and being strong enough to be part of the lion's tribe. This is very much a sign of the opposite of this. You're fearing the lion. You are not ready to overcome certain things. And the upright version is very much the reverse version is very much a sign of being afraid of those type of things. The Hermit, when you are in the upright position, is very much a sign of going through solitude and being withdrawn in a good way, where you have some time for yourself to build yourself up. But when we see the Hermit in reverse, this is very much a sign of isolation, loneliness, feeling lost, feeling a bit disconnected. A lot of times this card will come up and people will be like, oh, I don't want to be a hermit. But what they're kind of saying there is they don't want the reverse version, because this is a sign of loneliness and people forgetting about you and things like that. But when you have it upright, it's very much a positive thing, where it's like it's alone time for you to build yourself up. But when you get in reverses, you are feeling lonely and distant from other people. Next up is the Wheel of Fortune. When we see it in the upright position, normally that is a cycle. Good things are happening, things are working out in the universe's favor. The universe is pushing things to work forward, and fortune's coming your way. But when you look at this card inverted, you see the Wheel of Fortune becomes a different kind of concept. You are clinging to things. You are holding on for dear life. As you even see in the artwork, when things are flipped up over here, it is something holding on. This little entity right here is holding on to it, afraid to fall off. Things are scared for it. It's turning and it's not working in their favor. This is very much a sign of the wheels keeps turning, so it's really like repetition. It is constantly moving, doing the same things over and over again. Nothing's happening. The external circumstances are happening to them. They are not part of it. The Wheel of Fortune is almost grinding them down versus elevating them. So when you see this inverted, this is kind of a sign that there is a lot of things holding back. The Wheel of Fortune is not turning in your favor. Next up, we have Justice. So when you have it in upright, it's very much a sign of fair things happening. This is fair what's going on. This is honesty. This is truth, things like that. But when we see it in inverse like this or reverse, we see it unfairness, revenge, injustice, corruption. This is very much one of those things where the card, normally when you see it, it's justice working out properly. This is a sign of injustice happening. Things are not actually serving or working in your favor. This is very much something that's being blocked, or is almost like an injustice is happening. The next up we get is the Hanged Man. When it's upright, it's kind of sacrifice, surrender, letting go of things, allowing it to happen, and being the savior of your own life, really being in charge of your own situation and being in charge of what's going on. When you see this card in reverse, though, this is kind of a sign of being stuck. You're not able to get out of this. It's like the opposite side of that card, where you really can't do it. You need help from others. You're not able to get yourself out of this mud. This is kind of a sign where you are feeling a lot of fear here. You're afraid to save yourself, things like that. This can be very much detrimental towards a lot of people, because when this card comes up, this is kind of a sign that they're not necessarily ready to be out there on their own. They're still kind of clinging to others and things like that. The next card is Death. So when we get Death in the upright, this is very much the ending of a cycle, for a new cycle to start, letting go of things, being reborn. This is kind of a sign of transformation moving forward. The reverse side of this, though, is a little bit more, people kind of speculate with actual death. This is kind of a sign of decay, a lot of fear, a lot of detriment, a lot of issues, a lot of problems. This is kind of a sign of resisting change. This card's kind of a sign of being stuck somewhere and almost rotting. The other side of it, when we do see it upright, is very much kind of being reborn. The other side of death, where you come out of it on the other side of this, versus the reverse version of this, which is being stuck and very much letting things decay and letting yourself kind of be held back by certain issues and certain problems. Next up is Temperance. Temperance is when it's upright, it's very much a sign of testing out the waters in moderation, trying out new ideas, doing new things, and not letting yourself become stagnant. There's a shift to be found here in ways you could not be necessarily prepared for. But when you look at it in reverse, there's an imbalance. As you can see right here, even in the artwork itself, there's an imbalance now. When it was pouring before, it made sense. Now it's going against gravity. It's pouring the opposite way. Imbalance is happening here. There's too much. This is reckless. This is not putting yourself out there in a good way. You're not testing out the waters where it makes sense. You're testing out the waters just for testing purposes, and that can be very dangerous. So that is what it means when it is in reverse. Next up, we have the Devil card. So when it comes to the Devil, when we're upright, normally the card would mean breaking free of the shadow self, getting over repression, getting over things, being playful and being part of your situation, not taking it too seriously, getting out of the situation and breaking free of the things that oppress you. The card reverse is really interesting because this card does almost have a little bit more of a positive side to it when it is inverted, which a lot of the other ones might not. This one does actually. It's a little bit more about finding independence, finding freedom, restoring self-control, releasing the claim of power that's over you. We can see this very much as one of those things where things have been turned on their side because the Devil card itself does kind of give off just a weird vibe just in general when you do look at the upright version of it because it is the Devil and it's people in chains. This card is a sign of when it's inverted, it's very much about breaking free of that and getting onto that right journey. The next card we got is the Tower. In the upright, it is very much a sign of destruction, collapse, like kind of letting go of things, letting the past problems die off so you can kind of come back from this. When it's in the upright, this is very much a sign of purifying things and get rid of the drama, things like that. But when the reverse is very much a sign of there's the opposite side of that where you're kind of getting rid of you're kind of delaying the disaster. The other one's very much about purging the poison, but this is kind of pushing it back a little bit. This is one of those things where you're avoiding the drama and pushing it back a little bit. You're almost keeping the tower going by allowing it to exist and to stay. This is kind of a sign of avoiding the truth and avoiding transitions. This is very much a kind of a sign of being stuck or delaying. You don't necessarily want to do something like that, but this is kind of what it means when it comes to the tower inverted. Next up, we have the Star. So when we have the Star upright, this is very much a sign of hope, faith, and healing, regeneration, healing, recovery, breaking free, really getting lots of blessings and getting what you need from source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. But when we have it in reverse, this is kind of losing faith. This is kind of discouragement. This is a sign of hopelessness. You're not really being inspired anymore. You're losing a lot of the hope that you had, and you're kind of falling flat on those things. You're not necessarily able to get what you need out of life anymore, and you're losing hope in your journey in general. The Moon is our next card. So when we get the Moon, this is when it's upright, it is a sign of change of cycles, fantasy, blessings, breakthroughs, changing things and kind of getting back on track. This is one of those things where it's like the new moon will come your way and things will improve when you get the Moon upright. But when you get it reversed or inverted, this is a sign of anxiety, self-deception. You're kind of lying to yourself about certain things. You're kind of putting yourself in the dark on purpose. This is a sign of a lot of fear and misunderstandings and issues like that. This is very much a kind of sign when you get this card reversed is that there is a lot blocking you, that you're almost self-imposing a lot of drama and a lot of darkness. The next card we have is the Sun. So when it's upright, this is a sign of happiness, blessings, positivity, success, optimism, radiating good joy, lots of warm summery vibes. Versus when we get it in reverse, this is a sign of negativity, sadness. It's almost like the opposite when you think of a sunny day. This is like dismal, this is sad, this is no enthusiasm. A lot of issues here, you're being blocked. It's very dark, it's very kind of cold and distant. The next card we have after that is Judgment. So when you have Judgment upright, you're very much seeing it as an awakening, a reckoning, a rebirth, things are coming into term, things are making sense finally, and there's balance being established here. Versus when we see it in reverse like this, we are seeing self-doubt, ignorance is calling, lack of self-awareness, indecision, impracticality. This is very much a thing of, it's very delusional, very much putting yourself out of balance and very much out of whack. This is very much a sign that things are not necessarily going in your favor because you are not being honest about certain things with yourself or around you. Now we have the World. So when we have the World inverted is really interesting because it's very much a sign of incompleteness. Versus when it's upright, it's very much a sign of completement, fulfillment, mastery of the world around you, getting what you need out of life, things coming your way finally, a breakthrough. But reverse like this is a lack of closure. You're not being blessed. You're not being awoken. You're not getting what you need out of this. You're being disappointed by the world around you, and you're letting it disappoint you, putting you in a bad headspace, which is very much completely opposite of the upright version of this. The next card is from the Minor Arcana. We are looking at the Ace of Wands reversed. This is a sign of being unfocused, being blocked creativity, lack of motivation. You are not being able to build the roads that are properly going to move you forward. You're being very much held back by certain things and not moving forward on your own. The Two of Wands is a sign of overanalyzation. Your fear of the unknown and you're losing direction. You are letting yourself get distracted by things that are not true, and that's making you feel a bit lost. The Three of of Wands reversed is a sign of overcoming obstacles. You're starting to have a lot of regrets. There's a lot of challenges. You're feeling very disappointed, very distracted, very frustrated. The Four of Wands reversed is a sign of family disorder. This is a sign of lack of belonging, feeling insecure about certain things. You're not feeling like you're part of the family. You're feeling like you're outside of the family, things like that. The Five of Wands reversed is a kind of conflict avoidance. You're finding a lot of jealousy. A lot of tensions are raising around you. You're feeling like your ego is very much like wounded. You're feeling very much like you're not going to get through this. The Six of Wands reversed. No reward. Feeling very much like there's failure. You're not being recognized for what you do. You're feeling very low confidence, and you're not feeling like you're able to overcome the things that are blocking you. The Seven of Wands is a sign of feeling attacked, paranoid, self-victimization, defensive. You're not feeling like you're able to do this or overcome certain obstacles. Eight of Wands reversed, chaotic, no direction, obstacles, delays, resistance from momentum. You're feeling very much like there's a draw pulling you back and not letting you move forward at all. The Nine of Wands, you're giving up. You're feeling very rigid and flexible. You're retreating. You're burning out. You're not letting yourself be okay with burnout. You're very much allowing it to consume you completely. The Ten of Wands, this is very much a sign of collapse, falling down, not being able to take it on, feeling like you're being held down by a lot of things instead of being able to overcome it. When you see this card upright, it's very much a sign of overcoming the burden. This is a sign of allowing the burden to take you down. The Page of Wands, unreliable, waste of energy. You're feeling indecisive. This is a sign of someone who is really delaying you on certain things, people who are actively trying to disorganize your life. Knight of Wands in reverse, someone who is impulsive, cocky, violent, kind of rude, kind of vulgar, kind of forceful, kind of superficial, not a pleasant person who you want to have in your corner. Then after that, in reverse, we head to the Queen of Wands. This person's jealous, spiteful. They're a bit vindictive. They're a bit vicious. They're a bit of a troublemaker, and they're kind of a bully. Versus when we see the Queen upright, normally she's cheerful and very much warm, helpful kind of thing. This is kind of a sign of smothering, things like that. The King of Wands, we then get in reverse. This is powerless. This is ineffective. This is somebody who has no right to be in a place of power. They're like a dictator, a domineer. Very weak, very arrogant, and not able to overcome certain things. The next up, we were on to the Cups. So, the Ace of Cups in reverse is a sign of being drained, repressed, emptiness, isolation, disconnection. When this card is upright as your cup is overflowing, this is a sign that you're not able to stop it from being drained. This is a sign of emptiness. This is a sign of hollowness. This is a sign of repression and not getting what is needed. This can be one of those cards that essentially it's a sign that you are losing control of everything and it's not feeling good. The Two of Cups inverted is a sign of inequality, imbalance, and this is a sign of lack of trust and disharmony. When we see this card upright, it's very much a sign of two people coming together, a couple discussing things like that. This, though, when it's in reverse, is a sign of inequality. The two do not trust each other, and they're almost lying to each other the whole time. The Three of Cups in the reverse is a sign of isolation and feeling like there's a lot of gossipness. There's a lot of cattiness. You can't trust people you're talking to because they're catty and they're going to talk behind your back. Versus the Three of Cups when you're upright is very much a sign of friendship, social circles, party, collaboration, celebration. This is the opposite side of that where you feel like people are talking behind your back. The Four of Cups reverse is feeling very enthusiastic and being very aware of what's going on around you. This is a sign for new experiences and trying out new things and being willing to put yourself out there. This on the other side, like the other side of this when it's upright, is very much a sign of not trusting certain things and being nervous about certain ideas and new opportunities. This is the opposite side of that where it's enthusiastic, motivation. It's very much time to be motivated and put yourself out there. Cool. The next one up after that is Five of Cups, which is a sign of letting go of the past. When we see this card upright, it's very much a sign of kind of allowing yourself to mourn and be sad about it and kind of wallow a little bit, and that's okay. But when we see this reverse, this is very much a kick in the pants where it's like, get going, move forward. This is a sign to be resilient and let yourself recover even when things get hard or get a bit rough. The Six of Cups reverse is very much a sign of letting go of the things and not letting yourself be trapped in the past. This is time to let go of the innocence. This is time to become an adult. This is time to grow up and get over the things that would have once blocked you. This is very much time to kind of get over nostalgia. Don't let things block you anymore because it was fun in the past. It's time to let it go type thing. Next up, we have the Seven of Cups reverse. This is a sign of escapism. You're feeling uncertain about certain things and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and you're trying to escape from them. This is one of those things where you feel a lot of options coming at you, and instead of being excited for all the blessings, you're nervous. It's too much. It's overstimulation type thing. When we see this in the upright, it's very much about dreams coming true and finally being able to live those lofty ideals, let your head be in the cloud and have fun with it. This is one of those things where you're feeling out of control because of that. The next up, we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is a fear of change. This is a far of being in denial about the journey you're actually on. Things are already happening and you're avoiding them. This is the kind of card where you don't want to be part of your own story, so you're avoiding it and you're becoming very stuck somewhere because you won't let yourself enjoy your life. The next that we have is the Nine of Cups. This is a sign of disappointment, disheartenment, unfulfillment, delusions. This is the kind of person who isn't able to enjoy themselves or have fun because they're so delusional about what they could be having instead of what they actually have, and that's putting them in a bad headspace. The Ten of Cups in reverse is a dispute. Families having a lack of communication and having issues. When we see this card in the upright, it's very much a sign of building a good life with someone you care about and building a good life, feeling very fulfilled. This card in the reverse is very much a sign of dysfunction and kind of tearing apart a family type thing. The next up, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So when we get to the Page of Pentacles in reverse, we are feeling a lot of insecurity, a lot of rejection, a lot of criticism, very gullible, very much somebody who is sullen and kind of distant. This is not a fun side of yourself. This is not a fun innocence. This is a harsh, kind of insecure, awkward weirdness that is unjust. But when we see this card in the upright, it's very much side of embracing your inner child, listening to the messages from the universe and being happy and naive in a fun way and learning about it. What we see in reverse is very much a you know better and you don't want to learn. That's what this card is kind of shows. The next up, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. This is a sign of someone who's very narcissistic, very vain, very brooding, very melodramatic, very insecure. This person does not have a lot of love in their life and they take it out on others. They're not willing to overcome their insecurities. They want to drag other people down. Queen of Cups reversed. This is someone who's gloomy, melancholy, depressed, avoids conflict and avoids happiness, self-sacrificing at all times, never once actually taking care of themselves. They will put themselves on the back burner at all times, no matter what type thing. Now, for the last of the cups, we have the King of Cups reversed. This is someone who is a bit turbulent. They're a bit repressed. They're a bit wounded. They're a bit bitter. They have a lot of undealt with rage that they hold on to and they take out on other people and the people that they care about. Next up, we are on to the Ace of Swords reversed. This is a sign of confusion, conflict, hostility, obstacles, and miscommunication. This is a sign of not discussing things or having good conversations. This is a sign of breaking down on those things and very much trying to distract certain people and certain things with certain issues. The Two of Swords is a sign of turmoil, disorder, distress. This is the Two of Swords in reverse. This is very much a sign of being impassive and feeling very pressured by certain things, being held back by who you are and not letting it be your strength. The Three of Swords. This in reverse is a sign of forgiveness and reconciliation and compromising and healing. When we see this card, when it's upright, this can be a sign of heartbreak and kind of having to deal with certain heartbreaks and kind of having to get over certain things. When we see it in reverse, though, this is very much a sign of healing from these issues. You're pulling the swords out of your own heart and healing yourself. Even if it seems a bit detrimental, you can get through it. We then go to the Four of Swords. This is a sign of you're not getting the rest because you want it, because this is like passing out. This is a sign of burnout. This is a sign of exhaustion, collapse, self-neglect, and not taking good care of yourself. This is very much one of those things where you're becoming very compliant and you're not taking care of yourself to the point where it's very detrimental to you. The Five of Swords reverse is a sign of losing something important, not being able to get certain resolves. This is a sign of feeling bad about something and not being able to move on it. When we see it upright, this is very much a sign of overcoming it because you have the power to get there. This is kind of a sign of being nervous to move forward. It's one of those things where you had 5 swords, you lost 3 of them. When it's upright, that's a sign you can get through this. But now you're trying to look at, oh, I missed those 2 swords. You're still focusing on the things you lost that you're not able to even function. We then move on to the Six of Swords in reverse. This is a sign of being lingered and being blocked by something. So this card, when it's in the upright, is very much about coming out of your circumstances and finding the peace and happiness that you want and moving forward. But when we see it in reverse, this is being held back by it. The swords are blocking you. They're not your strength. They're becoming your weakness. Next up, we go to the Seven of Swords in reverse, which is a sign of self-deception, malicious. This is delusion, secret conclusions. You're trying to come to certain ideas without any proof. This is not a blessing. This is one of those things where you're assuming everything's out to get you, a lot of paranoia, things like that. This is very much the opposite of having a good strategy or a good piece. This is very much the side of kind of believing things just because you want it to be true type thing. The Eight of Swords in reverse is... This is one of those things where you're kind of, you're starting to find some optimism. You're finally starting to come into your own power here. There's a lot of possibilities for you now. You're not being held back by other people's ideas of who you are. You're not self-victimizing anymore. You're very much taking charge of your situation and you're kind of letting go of certain things. There is still a little bit of denial with this card, but it's also one of those things where it's starting to almost be helpful. This is one of those cards where the reverse side of it can be a little bit more on the positive than it would be on the upright. We then move on to the Nine of Swords reversed. So this is a sign of dealing with trauma. There's paranoia here, escaping self-hatred. This is very much one of those things where the universe is trying to help get out of despair. This is one of those cards where when you see it reversed is that the universe is pushing you to get out of the despair that would have once blocked you and held you back, and really trying to find some clarity and healing. The Ten of Swords reversed. Survival, transformation. There's new hopes to be found here. You're finding some reserves that you didn't have, and you're enduring the problems. Even if you do feel beaten down by certain things, you are able to come out of this. You will not be stopped. The Page of Swords in reverse is someone who is rude, someone who's insulting, a bit spiteful, a bit manipulative, a bit of a gossip, someone who's just very defensive for no reason. We then go to the Knight of Swords in reverse, which is someone who's very aggressive, very nasty, very rash, out of control, arrogant, and a bully. This person wants to win, and they will do whatever they can to do so. The Queen of Swords is someone who's critical, a bit bitter, a bit of a grudge, very cruel and very cold and very distant. And then on to our last card from these swords is the King of Swords. The King of Swords is someone who's ruthless, inhumane, and they're very much okay with whatever happens as long as they get what they need, even if it is somewhat violent. Next up are the Pentacles. Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Pentacles reverse is missed chances, financial blockages. You're feeling poor investments. There's a lot of loss coming to finances versus the upright version of this where there's money coming right. This is a sign there's losses on the horizon. The Two of Pentacles reverse is a sign of burdens, imbalances here. You are not being able to get what you need. You're being spread too thin. And you're feeling very overwhelmed and feeling very blocked. The Three of Pentacles in reverse is competition with ego. You're feeling a lack of vision and it's starting to make you compete with others. It's one of those things where you're not letting things come your way. You're fighting for them and it's not working. The Four of Pentacles is a sign of misleaded spending, a lot of greed, a lot of hoarding, a lot of materialism. When you see this upright, normally it's a sign of finding stability in your money and getting things that you need and what you want. This is demanding more than what you want, what you need, and asking for more, essentially. The Five of Pentacles is you're going to see some improvement of your situations. This is a sign of things are finally going to start leading up to a very positive change, building up your resources in a positive light. This is one of those cards that when it is in reverse is more on the positive side. The other one is very much a sign of being, when it's upright, it's very much a sign of instability and being a bit nervous or something like that, and having some losses physically. But reverse is a sign of improvements finally happening and you're getting the money you need, and there are breakthroughs to be found here. So this is kind of a positive change. The Six of Pentacles reverse is a power dynamic with someone is changing. There's some superiority happening here, and it does seem that there's going to be some strings attached to this, so be very cautious. This is kind of a card of a power being abused or something to that extent. The Seven of Pentacles inverted is no rewards, impatientness, wasting time, laziness, procrastination. This is one of those cards where it is you've worked really hard to get something and you're not getting paid off for it. It's not working. The hard work was in vain. The Eight of Pentacles is disinterest, poor quality, mediocre work. You're not viewing things professionally. You're just doing it and getting through it, and it's not actually worth doing. It's not actually worth the money that's coming to it. We then got the Nine of Pentacles, which is a superficial success. There's some debt to be found here. Things are not actually working. There's a transitional relationship, but it's not really working. This is kind of tackiness. This is not actually finding the blessings that are needed with it. This is one of those cards where it's all very much in vain, and it did not matter in the long term. Next up, we have Ten of Pentacles. This is a sign of family conflict, family losses, materialism, and a family being burdened with financial things. Things are not necessarily working. This is not necessarily a stable life for the people you care about, things like that. Page of Pentacles, uncommitted, laziness, deceptive, no ambition. This is not somebody who will push for what they need. This is the kind of person who just settles for what they get. The Knight of Pentacles, a workaholic who's selfish and cheap and does not do much. This is the kind of person who wants money, but they don't know how to use it. The Queen of Pentacles is jealous, insecure, deprives people, very unkept, self-centered, only focused on their own needs, does not care about people around them, especially when it comes to money. Now, last up but not least, the King of Pentacles. This is somebody who's going to exploit things for material reasons, and they are very corrupt, and they're willing to do whatever they can for money, even though it doesn't actually serve them in the long term. Now that we know what each card means in reverse, I'm going to do a quick reading, and I'm going to show you both sides of it. We'll do 3 upright and 3 inverse, and then we'll see what the meanings are differently. So we have the Lovers. There's a love life coming. A change is happening in your destiny. Love is on the way. You cannot avoid it. It is on the horizon. The Chariot, it's coming quickly, and things are breaking free. Things are moving quickly, and there are shifts happening very fast, and there will be some blessings to be found with that. This isn't going to require a lot of emotional strength, but it will be worth doing. The strength is important. The universe is guiding you towards building yourself up in this journey. That's what the meaning meant upright. But then when we flip it, if we looked at it inverse, it has a whole different meaning. You're not going to find the right person. They're not on the way. They are distant. You're going to have to do extra work. It is not pre-divine. It is slowing you down. The Lovers inverted is a sign of slowing down. Things are not moving right and not happening easily. The Chariot is in that same vein. The Chariot, this is a sign of you are getting in your way when it comes to love, and you are blocking this. You are not excited about this, and this is not stable. This is very much being held back. And then if we look at strength invert, it's the exact, it falls in perfectly. You are blocking the love you deserve. You don't think you accept it. You're not strong enough to accept love. You're not deserving of the love. You don't think of yourself in that way. That's why it is slowing you down. It's self-slowing down. You're not getting there because you are blocking yourself. The reading still works and still applies, but now it's in a different light and we get a different insight to that story. So we learned about the tarot inverted. This gives you a different side of the cards and can help expand your horizons. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please make sure you comment, like, subscribe for more content like this. I appreciate all of you so much. You guys really mean the world to me, and I hope this helped you out on your personal journey towards learning tarot and personally leveling up, evolving, and getting on the right track. I hope this was helpful in some way. I know a lot of people can be nervous when it comes to reading the cards reversed.